It's Doodlebud. We're checking out these two little pens today. This is the latest offering from Enso. This is his Pocket Puma pen. I'm a super big fan of him. I got three of them down here. We got aluminum, Japanese ebonite, titanium with a custom job I did on that. But this one, these ones here, these are made of a substance called PEI. Now, if you're in Canada, you might be thinking Prince Edward Island, but it's not that. It's polyethylamide, more commonly known as Ultem. So I got some ink, I got a little eyedropper, and I got some lube. I'll tell you what that's for in a minute. Let's ink it up and get to it. Of course, a big thank you goes out to Carlo over at Enso for providing me these two pens to review. Check out enso.com for all the details, the nib options, and all that good stuff. They are on his site now, live, ready to go, and they are retailing for $95 US. But before I get them all messy, let's show them in their nice kind of clean state. I tidied them up here. So why do I have two of them? Well, let's show you. We got one here, has this. It's got the nib. It's a Bach nib, and it's got the blackout sort of treatment to it. And then the other one is just your standard black steel nib. Now, I got two of them, and I don't need two. So one of them is going to be given away, and you'll get to pick whichever one you like, this treatment or this treatment. You got to watch the video though, and there'll be a little clue on how to enter it. Don't just scroll to the end and go drop a comment. No, you got to watch the video. So let's go through these. So the Pocket Puma. I love this pen. Like I showed you, I have a few different versions of it. It is such a cool little pen. It starts off as the little pen, and then it ends up going to a fairly large full-size pen. And for someone who has a pretty large hand here, it is, large, definitely large enough. It's got some nice thickness to it as well. I know the Kaweco Sport is a mega popular pocket pen, but it's a beautiful and well-made pen, but I just find it too narrow. And for someone with a larger hand, it's not quite there. So the Pocket Puma is absolutely fantastic. I really, really, really enjoy this pen. So this one here, you can do two things. You can either have a cartridge, okay? So your standard international cartridge comes with one of them, a black cartridge to go with the pen. Got the little Enso that's done on the little body there. We got a O-rings, put a little silicone grease on there, and this is also a pocket eyedropper pen as well. So you can hold a bunch of ink in there. We'll ink it up, do a measurement. I think it's somewhere around 2 milliliters of ink. So very simple. I mean, there's not a whole bunch. We can pop out the nib here, just slips out. So if you got another number 6 nib that you want to try on here, I think this is a medium. It doesn't say. That's the one thing with the box. They don't tell you on there. It should say medium somewhere, but I don't see an F or an M or an MF or anything like that. So I think this, just from using it, that it is a medium when I was doing some size comparisons with some other Bach nibs I have and trying to put this back in on camera. There we go. Tough to do that when you're looking through the camera. It also screws out too. So if you want to take out the whole nib unit, it just unscrews and away you go. Now, when you put it back in, I do recommend just a little dollop, a little dollop on the threads here to help it seal up, especially if you're going to go for the whole eyedropper approach. But yeah, very, very simple bits, very simple parts, but these are really good little pens. Like I said, many times you've seen me on my channel talk about the Pocket Puma. One of my favorite pens, performs really, really great. So we'll go through it real quick. I got several videos on each of all these different versions here of his pens. They're really cool. Oh, another quick thing. Look at this. They all mix and match. So if you want to make a really interesting pen, we got Ultem. Let's combo it with titanium, and what would you call that? Would you call that Ultanium? First ever Ultanium pen. Then we can have Ultebonite. Let's do that. And then aluminum with Ultem. I don't know, what would you call that? Ultuminum? I don't know, something like that. But yeah, just goes to show you all the parts are interchangeable if you want to do. I don't think, actually with the black it's not so bad, but this Ultanium pen, not the best mix, but there we go. So if you have any of the other ones, if you really wanted to play around and swap around, you can do that too. The cool thing with Ultem, they call it like an engineered plastic. It's used in a lot of different areas, sometimes aerospace and circuit boards, all sorts of different applications. One thing that's really great with it is you can hold really tight tolerances with it. It machines quite well, and it's extremely durable and strong. Like with some of the fancy type of resin pens, they look really gorgeous, but you know, if you drop one on a tile floor, you know, that's curtains for the pen. So that's what's really nice about these Ultem pens. They're very, very strong, very durable, and they'll hold up to wear and tear. So there we go. Very light. Let's just call it 12 grams, probably about 2 more grams if you eyedropper it. So pretty light pen overall. For the purposes of this review, just to keep things simple, I'll just be inking up the one pen, but let's show you why you might want to have a little lube handy. So we got the silicone lube. I bought mine, this little container. This was just at Anderson Pens when I was ordering some vintage pen parts. So you saw me take out the whole nib unit. So it's a good idea, especially for the eyedropper, but just in general, just to help with a little bit of friction on these things. I mean, you don't need it, but yeah, if you are going to eyedropper, I go for it. Just put a little dibby dab on there. In this case, I got a little paper clip, so just a teeny little dab will do ya. Pop it in there, screw it on. Then we're going to eyedropper it. I think, you know what, just to be a little, make it easy on myself, especially when you're recording a video, this stuff is tough to do. We'll put a little bit on the threads here as well. Don't go crazy, just little dippy dabs and a touch on the O-ring just to be safe. You know, chances are you might not even need it on there, but I am always completely terrified of eyedropper pens, especially a pocket one. If you keep it in your pocket and it does fail, oh, there go your pants. So I don't think these will. I've used the Ebonite one and eyedropper that. I didn't have any issues. I definitely don't think I'll have it here, but just better be safe than sorry. So again, what was it? We're starting off here with, let's call it 1185. Let's ink it up. We're using Diamine Oxford Blue, and let's ink this thing up. All right, let's get it up there. Now, I kind of want to go up until the threads. I don't want it to overfill too much, and then you screw it down, and then you got yourself a bit of a messy problem here. So I'm just going to go to there. Maybe you can go a touch more, but for me, that's plenty of ink. That's so much ink as it is already. Maybe I went a little bit too deep there. Let's see. No mess, no mess. Come on. So let's pop this back on the scale. We were 1185. Now we'll just call it 1385. So we got 2 milliliters of ink in there. Let's call it about 93 millimeters when it's like so. Pop the cap off, post it. Now we're pulling in, let's call it 140. 15 millimeter in the body, and then the section, which has a pretty long length, we're talking about 12 and a half down to, about 10 and a half at its narrowest. And we got about a 20, let's just say 3 millimeter section to work with. I only have one other Ultem pen, and that is this Schoen design one. And so you can see, just as a reference, size-wise, they are pretty darn similar. Let's post them and compare. And as you can see, pretty darn close when they are posted up as well. Before I get writing, I figured I might as well give you details on how you could enter to win one of these lovelies, whichever one you choose. So what I'd like you to do, obviously you got to be a subscriber of the channel. If you could hit subscribe, head over to my Instagram, the Doodlebud on Instagram. Doodlebud was already taken. That dirty SOB. Don't know who that is, but it's the Doodlebud on Instagram. If you could hit subscribe there too, that would be kind of cool. Because what it does, it just kind of grows the channel and everything just in general. And that way, it gives an opportunity for me to grow and bring new brands and other opportunities to share with everyone who's watching. That'd be great. In the comment, I'd love to hear from you on some topics that you think would be good things for me to cover. Obviously, I'm always going to have reviews like I'm doing now. You see me do nib grinds. I got a laser I'm shooting things with. I'm going to be actually shooting this one with a laser too. This is going to be fun. I told Carlo about that. He's looking forward to it. But if there's some other topics you think you'd like to hear me cover, I'd love to hear from you down there in the description. So let's get writing. One nice thing I found with this pocket eyedropper pen is when you ink it up, normally it takes a little bit when you eyedropper pen for the ink to get down into the chamber here and be ready to go. But I found with this one, for whatever reason, it gets in there pretty darn quick. So, sometimes you got to wait a few minutes here. It's like 30 seconds, or maybe a minute tops, but that's sort of nice. That's one of the things with eyedroppers is you got to wait a little bit and then you get impatient and stuff like that. But here we go. We got the Enso Puma. This is the pocket. And the material is Ultem. We got a Bach nib. And I'm fairly certain, even though there's no marking, this is a medium. It writes just absolutely lovely. No tuning that I had to do on this whatsoever. The wetness is really, really good. The ink here we got is Oxford Blue. I am going to try this on the Rhodia. I don't mind this ink, but I find it doesn't really, show off too well on the Rhodia paper. I meant to say Regalia paper, not Rhodia. I was on Rhodia. Let's see how this Oxford Blue looks on here. I just love this Regalia paper. It just has such a different look to it. I really like the smoothness. Now that I've been using this paper, I thought Rhodia was like, the go-to. I'm like, not so much anymore. Let's let that dry a moment. I'll try to do a little bit of a nicer writing sample for those who like to see that kind of action. It's tough to really get up close here and compare, but I do like the look of that ink more on the Regalia than I do on the Rhodia. Nothing wrong with the Rhodia, but just makes it pop a little bit more. Again, I'm trying to do some nicer writing on camera, but it's hard to get it all set up. That little skip there, that was me lifting off. But yeah, this pen, since I've used it, and same is for the one with the black nib as well, has not missed a beat. Super smooth. The wetness is right where it should be. Tuning is great. And yeah, I haven't done a cartridge. I've just been eyedroppering them and cleaning them out. The cool thing with Ultem is you can use isopropyl alcohol to clean these pens up. Don't use acetone or also ammonia. Don't use your standard pen wash. They usually have ammonia in them. So you can just use soap and water, that type of thing if you need to. But if you need to get that extra little bit, if you have a bit of a tenacious ink in there and it doesn't want to come out, you can get yourself some IPA isopropyl alcohol, clean it out, and yeah, you can't do that with a normal pen. Don't put that on the feed, though. That's ABS. They don't like that. My final thoughts on the latest Pocket Puma by Enso, this time in Ultem. I think it's pretty damn good, just like my other Pocket Pumas that I really enjoy as well. And the Ultem material is pretty darn neat. It's very strong. It's lightweight. You can eyedropper. And, although I was sent this pen for free to review, the price point of $95, I think that's pretty darn fair. He makes a pretty good pen. I've had zero issues with mine. I'll leave mine, my other pocket pen, especially my titanium one. I've been rotating my pens a bit. And even this one too, like this has still been inked. I think I left this inked up with a cartridge in there. I think it was probably at least 3 months, maybe 4 months. Popped it open. It wrote instantly. None of them have ever dried out. So this material will be the same way as well. So, a pen that just works and you don't have any issues and it's durable and very well made, I think that's a pretty reasonable exchange. So, but you might win one for free. So follow what I mentioned earlier in the video to enter. I'll do the giveaway in 5 days from this video. So it's a Saturday. The giveaway will be on January, that's the Thursday, the 26th. I'll announce it on the community page of the channel. It'll be a random selection. So keep an eye out for that. But until next time, glad you watched. Hit subscribe if you want to enter, and we'll catch you next time. Oh yeah, and if should you win, I thought I would just show you these. These just came in from Sticker Mule. Hadn't heard of them, but they had an offer. 10 stickers for $1, free shipping. Couldn't resist, so I'll throw in. These are pretty rare. There's only 10 in existence. A Doodlebud sticker to the winner.